Welcome back, guys, to our second week of distance learning for government. Um, Please make sure you look over this and listen to this video in its entirety. That way you are prepared for class. I may be playing part of this for our class this week, but I want you to have a deep understanding of what we are going to be doing in class and make it a priority to come to class. Uh, Last week, we focused on domestic policy. We talked about domestic policy issues, we talked about fiscal policy, and to jump back onto fiscal policy and domestic policy, you have to think about where does this money come from? How do we pay for all these lovely social programs that we have? So, this week's assignments are focused completely on economics, so you have a good understanding of how do we afford these things, and then how in your life do you afford the items that you want? Every day, you guys play with economics, whether you realize it or not, because economics has to do with not just money, but also time, with also a lot of different things. It can be a non tangible good, and I'll get into that when I look at our slides. So this week, we have a couple different assignments. Our first one is GDP assignment. So this one, you're going to be looking through some different aspects of GDP. Before I jump into the assignment itself, I'm going to look over our slides with us. Okay? So economics studies the behavior of individuals, groups, and organizations when they use scarce resources to achieve desired ends. So, as I said, it can be time, it can be items, it can be money. Anything is economics as long as it's a transactional item. So the first item is scarcity. This is a tenet of economics because there are always going to be less materials available than are requested by consumers. The biggest items I'm thinking about for scarcity with coronavirus right now are toilet paper, hand sanitizer, stuff like that. And why is there always less put out than people want? Because they want to keep demand high. If they keep demand high, then they can set the price high. Opportunity cost is always when you make a decision. The opportunity cost is the good or service that you give up when you pick another good or service. So think about it. A cost is what you pay. So opportunity cost is what you give up when you make a choice. So if you decide to play video games all day, then you are giving up doing well on your assignment that you needed to spend hours on. That is your choice. And so that is your opportunity cost because you're always giving something up. If I have mac and cheese for dinner, I'm giving up having pizza for dinner. So think about that. There is always, always, always an opportunity cost. Economic systems. There's a traditional economic system, market economic system, command, and a mixed market. So traditional economy, we're talking about stuff is traded. If you give me eggs, I give you beef. That is in a traditional economy found in a lot of third world countries. Market economy is you I can create whatever I want, I can sell it for whatever price I want, and you can choose to buy it or not buy it. Command economy, the government says how much certain items can cost and pay for. This is found in a lot of communist countries and dictatorial places where the government sets the price on all items. And a mixed market is a combo between command and market because the government sets prices on some items, but other items, the producers are allowed to set the price. That is what we have in America, guys. So, GDP stands for Gross Domestic Product. Yes, I'm moving quickly through this. You can take this back, replay it as many times as you'd like at your leisure. So, gross domestic product is basically the total income of a nation. It says how well an economy is doing at all times. So, it is put together of a few different things: consumption, investment, government spending, and then exports minus imports. So, guys, economics, you guys thought you'd get away without doing any math? Sorry, we're going to do a little math this week. So, consumption is consumption by households: groceries, clothes, iPads, whatever. And services: getting haircuts, getting your oil changed, having the cleaners come in. All examples of consumption. Okay, investment, that's investment by businesses and households. So, if you buy a new house, or you put money in the stock market, or a business buys a whole bunch of goods because they want to sell them, they're investing in something so they can make something else with it. Like education is an investment in your future. Okay, GDP also includes government spending. So, that's any money that's spent by the government on a local, state, or federal level. Government spends a lot of money on roads, social programs, schools, that kind of stuff. So, here's our little picture: Uncle Sam taking money out of his wallet. And then net exports. So, you have exports, which is how much money that what we send to other countries. Like if we create a good in America and send it to Europe, that's an export. And then imports are what we get from other places, such as we get items from China all the time. So, exports minus imports. If you import more than you export, you're going to have a negative number. And that's okay. It goes into your GDP. So this is our calculation: consumption plus investment plus government spending plus net exports. So, exports minus imports. I suggest that when you do your GDP assignment, you look at this and you use this formula. Stuff not included in GDP: intermediate goods, used goods, black market goods, stuff that you make from home, and transfer payments. So, guys, stuff cannot be counted in GDP more than once. So, if a car is made in one year and it's sold in that year, it cannot be sold again and included as part of GDP. So, anything used, obviously anything black market, is not included in GDP. Components of GDP, here it is one more time just to give you a good idea of the formula. So how much of GDP is each component? You'll see consumption 70%, investment 16%, government spending 19%, and next net exports are negative 5%. Because, guys, we import a lot more than we export. So real and nominal GDP, when you get to that part on the assignment, you have to use the GDP deflator. So you find your nominal GDP, which is not adjusted for inflation, and then you find your real GDP, which is the adjusted for inflation GDP. And so this week you're going to be doing activities 1, 2, and 4 in our class, which is at home. And if you want to do activity 3, that is for extra credit. I'm going to pull those up for you now. Then after that, we'll be talking about making a budget. Because, guys, in your life, you're going to have to save money so you can actually live a life. You do not want to be spending more than you're making all the time, because otherwise you're going to end up being kicked out of your house. You're going to be living in poverty, and that's not good. So budgeting and finance will be our last activity as we move forward.